Good evening and welcome to the Pompey Politics podcast. You join us this evening for a special event. We are joined by friends of the podcast from Just Stop Aquind and Nonna Aquind to review the way that their whole movement is going and to bring everybody up to speed with what's going on once and for all. I'm Ian Tiny Morris.
And I'm Simon Sainsbury. Good evening and welcome, everyone. Without further ado, we'll welcome in our guests. We've got guests from across the south coast in England and across from the Normandy coast in France. So good evening, everyone, and welcome.
Hello.
Thank you very much. So I will we'll introduce each guest as each person speaks. Hopefully, you had a chance to have a bit of a look at the lovely video, which we'll share in the links in a minute, showing the route into Portsmouth that's there. But I will first let co-founders of Let's Stop Aquind, Viola Langley, if you wouldn't mind kind of explaining what Let's Stop Aquind is about and what the project is about, and then after yourself we'll also hear from other co-founder Paula. So welcome, Viola.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to express a big thank you and express my gratitude to everybody who's helped so far to stop the project. People here in the virtual room, and also all those people who are visiting us or watching us tonight, the communication group in particular, people who have helped us along the way. A big thank you to everyone. Now, the Aquind interconnector is an interconnector, electric cables to be laid, or hopefully we can stop it, from Normandy, France to Portsmouth and then up to Lovedean. We are not against interconnectors, but this particular one is not a good idea. We are not NIMBYs, we are not professionals, but we have studied and we have researched a lot, and we would like to explain today to you our reasons. Now, for me, it is particularly the timeline I'm looking at today, because a lot of people say, oh, Aquind interconnector, this is over. The project has been refused. No, it hasn't. And therefore, I'm trying to very briefly explain what has happened so far so everybody can understand it. In July 2018, the power was taken away from our local authorities because Aquind, the company, went to our government and asked for this project to become a nationally significant infrastructure project. This meant that our local authorities and us residents have no power in saying that this project should be refused. The next time, September 2020 to February 2021, there was a huge examination process. It was COVID time, so it had to be online. Let's Stop Aquind worked very hard. Lots of interested parties from the allotments, people who live along the road, interested party, mailed the inspectors and even took part in the examination process. September 2021, the planning authority gave recommendations for the Aquind interconnector. We were shocked. It was then passed on to the government for a final decision. And in January 2022, Kwasi Kwarteng, who then was the Secretary of State, refused the development consent order, and we thought Aquind Games was over. So at least we hoped. Everybody thought it was over. And many people don't know it is not over. November 2022, the government's refusal was challenged in the High Court. There was a big build-up before that. But in November 2022, we went there. Let's Stop Aquind was there, but we weren't an interested party. We didn't have money to take part in the process. But our council was there and fought it. January 2023, the judge quashed Kwasi Kwarteng's decision. So Aquind was back in the game. Again, we said no, and lots of documents, forward, backwards. It was like a tennis match. We have written so many documents, and you who watch us today, you've been part of this. Individuals, interested parties, everybody, loads of people wrote to the planning authorities. August 2024, the Ministry of Defense expressed serious concerns about national security. And since then, the talks have been held behind closed doors. We still regularly communicate our concerns, but there hasn't really been any response from the planning authorities or from the government. Let's Stop Aquind, MPs, councillors and residents are united against this project. And I mean, I think this is really unique. All parties are against this project. We had support and have support from our MPs, Stephen Morgan, Penny Mordaunt, ex-MP Flick Drummond, now Amanda Marty, Suella Braverman, and we have got continuous support by our local government, Portsmouth City Council, Winchester City Council, and Hampshire County Council now too. Now, if we look at Companies House under Aquind this year, their accounts were published late. Richard Glasspool, one of the directors, resigned, so there are only 2 directors left. In May 2025, Viktor Fedotov, the main financial owner, died. It wasn't in the public. We only found out in actually the accounts in Companies House. And Alexander Tomerkel once made a comment in an interview he gave quite recently. So the sole owner at the moment is Alexander Tomerkel. The company, from what we guess, because we are not experts, we are not accountants, are currently 50 million plus. So there is a lot to think about. There is a lot to talk about, and I think the important thing is that people really tonight realize this project is still very much alive, and we need you all again. I know you've done it many times. We need you to write to your MP, and we need you to write to the planning authorities. All your complaints will be, and all your concerns and all your worries are still published, and you can see those documents published on the planning authority's website, which I will put into Facebook and also onto our website. They are available at any time for you.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you, Antonia. And other co-founder, we go to Paula. Paula, would you like to talk us through about the story so far and what this all means?
So I'm going to read something that I've written basically about what I've always been involved in the campaign. I mean, I'll be honest, I have taken a big back step this past year because I've been busy doing lots of other things, but I'm still there. And anyway, so I always worried about what we stood to lose, the green spaces that thread through Portsmouth, Havant and Winchester, as they aren't just patches of land on a map. They're places where people walk their dogs, where children learn to love nature, where birds nest and foxes shelter, where the seasons still feel real. These are fragile environments already under constant pressure, and carving them open to lay down a massive industrial cable feels like the exact opposite of what environmental stewardship should look like. So Portsmouth especially makes me anxious. It's an island city already choking on traffic and pollution. Adding years of excavation and road disruption isn't just inconvenient, it threatens to push local air quality into dangerous territory. As someone who has seen friends, children and myself struggle with asthma, the idea of worsening pollution because of a project we do not need feels irresponsible and quite reckless. Then there's the coastline. The South Coast is one of the most naturally beautiful and ecologically rich areas we have, with habitats that support migrating birds, delicate marine life and coastal flora that simply can't be replaced once destroyed. What's proposed here isn't a minor disturbance, it's major industrial intervention across a living, breathing ecosystem. And the fibre optic line running beside the cable worries me for another reason, for security. When the Ministry of Defence raises concerns about national security risks near the Royal Navy sites, it's hard to understand why anyone would be willingly to add vulnerability where none needs to exist. Protecting our environment shouldn't come at the expense of protecting our national safety, or vice versa. Aquind threatens both. So these are places that people go to breathe, to find quiet, to feel connected to nature. Once industrialised, they don't go back. And the offshore, when we disturb marine habitats, we don't just inconvenience people, we unsettle ecosystems that are already struggling under climate change, warming waters and overexploitation. So in the end, my opposition to Aquind is simple. It asks too much from the environment and gives far too little in return. A project that damages landscapes, endangers wildlife, disrupts communities, and puts sensitive marine and coastal environments at risk. And it cannot be justified, not when the costs are so high and the benefits are so unclear.
Thank you so much, Paula. That was lovely. So, our next guest is the president of Nona Aquind, which is Donald Brument.
Good evening, Donald Brument. I am the president of Nona Aquind in France, with Yoann, Collin, and Jean-Marie Tabès, presidents of the Mayor Route in Normandy. We went at the end of November to meet the personalities of Portsmouth. The Let's Stop Aquind group welcomed their French allies in a demonstration of unity against Aquind project. The morning of November 31, with Viola Langlais, we went to see the cable route in Portsmouth. Just like in Normandy, it's a real ecological disaster. The cable crossed the city for 15 miles. The route, it is not straight. They often turn right and left, sometimes on narrow streets. In the afternoon, we met Amanda Martin and Stephen Morgan, two MPs from Portsmouth. They have always been against Aquind. We informed them that the Aquind project was rejected by the French government 3 weeks ago. We decided to continue our campaign until the Aquind project will be permanently removed. Late in the afternoon, we were received by the mayor and the leaders of the city councillors, Pitt, and 5 other Portsmouth councillors. The Nona Aquind Association was created in 1920. I have been in contact with Viola Langlais of Let's Stop Aquind since 2120. We have stated that we are not against interconnection between France and England, but against which brings us far too many disadvantages. Yet, Aquind announced his virtuous project. This project is above all virtuous for Aquind to make a lot of money at the expense of our environment and safety. We must not accept this harmful project on the other side of the channel. In France, they are blocked by the recent refusal by the government to allow the use of the public and maritime domain. But as in the past, they will exercise legal recourse. The three associations, Let's Stop Aquind in England and Nona Aquind and the mayor of the route in France decided to continue against Aquind in a more intensive way. The Portsmouth City Councillor have proposed that we sign a joint charter against Aquind. We accept this proposal with great satisfaction. Let's continue our fight until the Aquind project is definitively cancelled.
Thank you, Donald. Thank you. Heading up next, so we've got some statements read out on behalf of Portsmouth MPs Amanda Martin and Stephen Morgan.
Hello, I'm Janet from Let's Stop Aquind Communications Group. Joint statement from Amanda and Stephen. We have long opposed the Aquind project and continue to do all we can to highlight the case for it to be finally put to bed. We have raised serious national security concerns about the proposed interconnector, alongside the environmental damage, murky financing, and severe disruption it would cause the people in Portsmouth. We were pleased to meet recently with our French counterparts and local campaigners to hear about the developments in France and update them on the work we are doing. We will continue to stand shoulder to shoulder with Portsmouth residents and campaigners in making the case for Aquind to be refused once and for all.
Thank you very much, Janet. And next up to speak is Suella Braverman MP, who's the Member of Parliament for Fareham and Waterlooville.
Thank you. I want to just pay tribute to the campaign organisers, Viola and Paula, for their indefatigable work on this very, very important campaign. And I'm very honoured to be part of a cross-party campaign to stop Aquind. Mr. Chairman, si vous permettez, je suis francophile et je voudrais parler quelques mots en français, quelques mots d'amitié.
Thank you.
Ça me fait grand plaisir de faire partie de cette collaboration entre des équipes britanniques et françaises. Et moi, je suis la députée de département Fareham et Waterlooville dans le côté sud. Mais en général, c'est la sécurité nationale ce que pose ma raison primaire pour objecter. Et c'est notre marine qui est située à Portsmouth. A little bit on French, I couldn't resist because I'm a big Francophile. I won't repeat really the main points. The massive disruption to the environment due to the construction project going through Waterlooville, in particular the access to the Rowans on the London Road going through and affecting the main shopping area will be a real inconvenience for local residents. But my main reason I am objecting steadfastly to this is the risk to our national security and the naval base in Portsmouth. Together with Amanda and Stephen, I met with the Defence Minister earlier this year, Luke Pollard, to try and find out a bit more about their significant concerns that were expressed publicly last year. He didn't give much away, which is right, because it is all sensitive and enclosed forum. Nonetheless, I do note the letter from the department in August relating to further disclosure. It therefore seems that it will be some time before we get a further decision. I did bump into Luke actually yesterday in Parliament. I asked for an update. He said he'd let me know, very vague, unfortunately. So I'm a little bit concerned about them taking their time. Having said that, what we do know, and from the experience of the previous government, is that Aquind are well-resourced, highly lawyered up, and will challenge any decision which is going to be made by the government. So I won't criticise the government for taking their time to get this absolutely right and watertight. I'd rather that they took more time to dot the I's, cross the T's and get it watertight and robust and foolproof against inevitable legal challenge than for them to rush this and only for it to be overturned in court, which is probably a high likelihood, knowing Aquind and seeing, well, not knowing them, I don't know, have had any personal dealings with them, but having observed their behaviour in recent years. So I can't give you an update on the timings. I don't know if anyone else on the call has had any update from the government on the timings, but we did have a constructive meeting with the Ministry of Defence Minister earlier this year. They're with us. They're with us on this issue. I have pressed the Energy Secretary in the Commons. I haven't really got anything back of substance, but I continue to stand with you, and anything that I can do from my position on the backbenches, I'm very honoured and happy to.
Thank you very much, Suella. And back to Janet for, we've got a statement from former MP for Portsmouth North, Penny Morden.
Yes, that's right. I'm sorry not to be with you today. I will continue to do all I can to raise concerns about these proposals. Our city was the first to point out the dangers of this scheme. Our worries have now been supported by both French and UK defence and security organisations. Thank you all for your continued efforts to ensure this never comes to pass. You are doing both our city and the nation a huge service.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you, Janet. And so now I'd like to introduce Steve Pitt, the leader of Portsmouth City Council. Steve.
Good evening, everybody, and a particular warm welcome to our friends in France. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you a few weeks ago and to agree the joint course of action, which will see a signed letter from the three council leaders and both Let's Stop Aquind and Non-Aquind being submitted to our respective Secretaries of State. I think it's really important to remember that so many things are often party political and divide people, but that this issue is one that has brought everyone together. No one supports this project. The only people who support it are Aquind themselves. And at a time when it's been off of the radar for quite some time, it's really important that we have this meeting to reawaken awareness that is still a threat, that it could be coming, and that we need to stop it. As we've heard, there will be a massive environmental impact to the Portsmouth, Havant and Winchester areas. There will be endless road disruption, and we have to remember that Portsmouth is an island city with only 3 roads on and off, and the prospect of digging one of them up for a commercial gain for months on end will cause massive disruption, huge traffic delays and chronic air pollution from cars all across our city. We've also, of course, faced the risk of compulsory land purchase of both public and private land. And as we've heard this evening already, there is the national security risk of a fibre optic cable. None of these things are acceptable to any of us, and it is extremely important that we keep raising awareness of the risks to both the English side and the French side to make sure that we do stop this project once and for all.
Thank you, Steve. Much appreciated. And could I now introduce Martin Todd, leader of Winchester City Council?
Thank you all very much indeed. And thank you for the chance also to express the support of Winchester City Council for the fantastic campaign that's been done by Stop Aquind and Non-Aquind. I was with Steve when we met our local government colleagues from France, and it's great that there's always been strong solidarity between Winchester, Portsmouth and Havant councils on this issue. We've stood together, we will continue to stand together, but it was great to be able to stand together with our colleagues from France as well. And I think the point that several people have made about the degree of support and the unanimous support is a very important one. It's unanimous across our whole council, no matter what party people support. We've been very grateful for the uncompromising support that we've had on this issue and been able to stand with our previous MP, Flick Drummond, and our current MP for the affected area, Suella Braverman, and will continue to do so. A lot's been talked about the environment. We're at the countryside end of things. And the area that comes right up next to one of our most beautiful national parks in the country. The disruption will be enormous. And it's important to say it's not just the disruption of where the route goes. Portsmouth and Waterlooville are really important centres for people who live in my district from much further afield, and the disruption will go far beyond the people in the immediate area. So what can I say other than Winchester City Council will continue to stand with our colleagues in local government, with the campaigners against Aquind, and do whatever we can alongside MPs, councils, campaigners to ensure that this does not go ahead. One last thought: we will also, of course, stand alongside our colleagues in the world of defence. It's a very important part of our community in Winchester, is particularly the Army, but also many residents of the Navy as well. And so knowing that we're doing the right thing for our country's security is also incredibly important. So a huge thank you to everybody who's been driving this campaign, and we will continue to stand with you.
Thank you, Martin. And then could I introduce Antonia Harrison, councillor in Waterlooville?
Thank you very much. Yes, from Havant Borough Council, we are very much opposed to this project. In fact, I brought a motion to Council in January 2025, largely to raise awareness in the Waterlooville area, because people just don't seem to know that this is a threat to the area. It was opposing the project, and it called for the Council to formally oppose the project and urged the Secretary of State for Energy Security and Net Zero to refuse permission. The Council leader has written to him twice, receiving just holding replies. If allowed, the Aquind interconnector project would cause years of disruption to Portsmouth, Herbrook and Waterlooville. As councillor for Purbrook and cabinet lead for Waterlooville Town Centre regeneration, I want to highlight how this project will affect my communities. The route enters from Portsmouth along the A3 London Road through Widley and Purbrook, both small villages with an arcade of shops, plus 2 day nurseries and 2 churches. The Ladybridge roundabout at the crossroads in Purbrook has twin concrete culverts underneath. If Aquind were to install its cables here, as they plan, their weight as they cross over the culverts exceeds the culvert's ability to stay intact. This would probably require replacement. The whole roundabout would have to be excavated to insert twin coffer dams to contain the stream. This involves rerouting all services, gas, electricity, telecoms, and the bus routes, with a temporary pumping station for the main sewer, and closing both sections of the A3, Ladybridge, London Road, and Purbrook Heath Road, which is where Rowan's Hospice is sited. And this could take up to a year. All traffic to Waterlooville would be redirected via Stakes and enter past the town centre along the retail park. This is absolutely not what the traders in the town centre want. Havant Borough Council is supporting the town with an ambitious regeneration programme. In Waterlooville, the road continues past the main entrance to the Newlands or Burwood estate, which houses 2,000 residents. It then affects the shops of Hambledon Parade and access to the recycling tip and the Wellington Vale care home. The route continues north through green residential areas up to the proposed converter station at Lovedean. This is a huge building and would be seen from the South Downs National Park. Now, much as we recognise that this country needs more electricity, this is not the answer. The MOD, Ofgem, local communities, councillors and MPs are all resolute in our declared opposition to this ill-formed project, and it must be stopped.
Thank you, Antonia. And if I can now cross the channel to a friend of the pod, so Yoann Collin, from President of Mayors Along the Route. Yoann.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Maybe the French deputy, Robert Le Bourgeois, could talk also. He is there. Maybe we can. It is okay for you?
Absolutely.
Good night. I would like really to thank you for the opportunity you give me tonight to share with you my position, which is well known in France. Just a few words to remind you how, as a French MP, I am, together with my fellow Patrice Martin, deeply involved in the fight against this awful project, which is, in my point of view, unnecessary, efficientless, environmentally doubtful, plus the compliance issues as far as shareholders are concerned. And I'm very glad for the first time to meet this evening the British representatives who share this struggle with us. Definitely, we will never walk alone in this fight. I would like also to thank all the French mayors who have led the protest for many years. And you can be sure you can rely on me for the next steps. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Yoann.
Thank you. I will not be too long because maybe everything have been said. And I would like to thank everyone involved against this bad project. I would like to thank Steve and his team for writing the letter that we will send to the Secretary of State for Energy and the Ministre de l'Économie in France. I think it's a good idea to develop friendship between French and English because this will give strength together to fight, because the fight is long and we need energy to continue. We are also thankful about the government to say no against the project. And now we are waiting for the justice to give his word. So many thanks for everything everyone have done since the beginning of this project. And let's continue together.
Fabulous. Thank you, Yoann. And our final speaker for the night, I'm going to head back to Janet to read a prepared statement from a number of the campaign groups.
Thank you. So, dear Secretary of State, and dear Minister de l'Économie, des Finances et de la Souveraineté industrielle, énergétique et numérique, we, the undersigned, are writing with one collective voice to ask you, as the final decision makers, to completely and finally reject the proposed Aquind interconnector project. We wish to be clear that in principle, we do not oppose electric interconnectors. We feel very strongly Aquind is the wrong proposal in the wrong place. We say no to, on the British side, the environmental destruction within the areas of Portsmouth City Council, Havant Borough Council, and Winchester City Council, as well as in the sensitive natural sites along the south coast of England. The major traffic congestion and deterioration of air quality that would result from routing the interconnector through Portsmouth, an island city with only 3 road links to the mainland. Any public or private compulsory purchase in Hampshire. The national security risk posed by the presence of a fibre optic cable running alongside the electrical interconnector, passing close to sensitive Royal Navy installations, as highlighted by the UK Ministry of Defence. On the French side, the severe damage to rural and coastal landscapes, as well as to the environment, particularly in the commune of Pourville-sur-Mer, which would pay a heavy price with its beach and surrounding areas disfigured. The disruption of maritime and port traffic off Dieppe, with direct economic consequences for fishing, freight, and cross-channel transport activities. The technical and environmental risks linked to the installation of the submarine cable in an area of strong currents and fragile biodiversity, a project lacking any public interest, as acknowledged by the French Minister for Energy, with the prefect of Seine-Maritime having refused the authorization to use the public maritime domain. And for both sides, excuse me, for both sides, a pure speculative project designed to enable the resale of 17 terawatt hours, 1,700 billion kilowatts of electricity, benefiting only a few private interests, with no advantage for citizens in either France or the United Kingdom. The loss of fertile agricultural land, and the 2 electrical conversion buildings, each measuring 75 metres long, 55 metres wide, and 23 metres high. They will be built in the middle of our countryside. All of these concerns have been placed on official record, either in the UK or France, or both. However, some considerable time has passed, and in some cases, the ultimate decision maker has changed at least once. Therefore, we feel it is of the utmost importance that you are reminded that our resolve to oppose this unwanted and unnecessary project remains undiminished. We urge you to fully review all concerns placed on record by all interested parties. The people of the city of Portsmouth and those affected in the borough of Havant and in the city of Winchester warmly welcomed the recent decision in France to deny key permissions for the. We also noted and welcomed the rejection of the development consent order by the previous UK Secretary of State, Kwasi Kwarteng. We strongly support these decisions and would not like them to be overturned. We, the residents of both sides of the channel, Let's Stop Aquind and Nonna Aquind, together with the elected officials from both France and England, herein undersigned, are united. We urge you to stop Aquind once and for all.
Thank you, Janet. Marvellous job there, having to read all of those prepared statements, and thank you for doing that so clearly. Simon.
Thank you very much, everyone else. Viola, was there something you wanted to kind of say as a closing message? If anyone else wants to get involved, learn more about either of the campaigns, what should they be doing?
I think very important for all of us is obviously to be vigilant. Stay vigilant, watch, and ask everybody else to check and make sure that we share information. Very important for the people who are watching tonight, whether that is in France, I guess, or here in England, please do write to the planning authorities. Write to your MPs again, because when we had meetings with Amanda Martin and Stephen Morgan, they did say to us, we need support, and the more you are writing and the more people actually sending their individual worries and concerns and objections, it will support certainly this Aquind interconnector to be stopped. So I can just urge everybody watching tonight or catching up later, please do this. I know you might have done it 5 times, 6 times, 7 times, but do it again so we can show our unity against this project.
Thank you very much, Paula. Thank you very much, everybody, for sparing part of your time this evening, and being so engaged on this important campaign. And as Steve said, it's very nice to see something that unites everybody from across the political parties and across the channel in something that they're against. So indeed, our thanks to all of you for taking part.
So we will close the show as we usually do. So thank you, as we say, to everybody for listening to the Pompey Politics podcast. We'll be back with domestic matters on Sunday. Thanks to all of our guests. It's lovely to see all of the political spectrum united, and when England and France are speaking as one, we know that everything is on the right side. So thank you, everybody. I've been Ian Tiny Morris,
and I've been Simon Sansbury, and our guests this evening have been multiples and fantastic. So thank you very much, all. If you want to,
thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone. Thank you so much.
Don't forget to like, follow and comment on Facebook, or comment and subscribe on YouTube. Find us on all the social media platforms: Facebook, X, YouTube, Threads, LinkedIn.